Hello. Today we're going to go over some basic 5 tips and tricks, I guess, or do's and don'ts, if you will. I get a lot of questions in chat when I'm live streaming from people that are brand new to the game. I'm still kind of brand new, but I've been playing it nonstop for like 2 weeks. I'm already power level 500, doing hero pluses. So I've played a little bit, just a little bit. I guess the first thing really quick, and this is more of a don't do than anything. It's not really a tip that's going to make you a better player. Just it's going to help you communicate your... Let me just get into it. This number in the upper left-hand corner, this 34, this doesn't really mean anything. Okay? There's a ton of people that are going around, newer players that are saying, hey, I'm a level 16. Can we play? Okay. Or they'll be like, I'm a 32, or I'm a 7, and the other thing that just gets really annoying, and is just, what level are you? What level are you? You've been playing how long? What level are you? Slayer level. Okay, it means something. You've done stuff. You've gone in and completed some mastery. It's like an achievement ranking. For those of you that played Save the World, there was a commander rank that like stopped at like level 300 and something, 360, 320. I can't remember because it was that important. After I played the game for 2 years in a row. Right? Like, it doesn't really mean anything. There are some people that always like to try to argue with me a little bit about it, and so, okay, it has a slight meaning. As you level up your mastery, yes, you can then come in on your Slayer level and then allow further upgrades. So it is important, but when you're communicating with other players about wanting to play with them on if you're qualified to do heroic pluses or heroics or dyers or whatever, your Slayer level isn't going to depict on whether or not you're good at the game or you're even geared for that kind of missions. The mastery system is something that was implemented a couple weeks ago when it launched on the Epic Game Store and on console. So a lot of those players that were veterans long before this recent launch were 550 gear score doing heroic pluses, and they were mastery level 1. So I was playing with the guy like day 3, and I was already a mastery level 20, 22, and he was a mastery level 11, and he had gear power 400 plus, and I was at like 160, maybe 300. I can't remember. So the mastery system is not a way to get. I wish they would actually remove it off of the screen because it's constantly in your face, and people think that that's your level, and it's not. This isn't the standard RPG where you level and your level depicts the quality of gear you can have. You can unlock things like health and stamina, and then you can get double. There's a lot of cool bonuses you can unlock by going through your mastery system, and you need to, but it is in no way a reference on your gear, on whether or not you're qualified to do high-end content. Sure, you have some gods out there that could equip 100 items and do high-end content because they know how to dodge and never get hit. It's just going to take forever to kill the boss because they're not doing any damage. Now, what do I mean by 100? This is how you should be talking about your gear. Let's go into your loadout screen. I'm currently at a 460 weapon and a 500 armor. Okay? When you go look at your weapons, I have 2 500s, I got a couple 460s, 380. This is how you communicate your power levels and what you're qualified to do. Same thing with your armor. Obviously, it's individually and tallied up, but you equipped all your armor and it gives you your loadout. So typically when I'm doing heroics or above, well, heroic pluses anymore, I'm always 500. When we're doing anything else and I'm trying to do mastery stuff or I want to change it up a little bit, I will use other items. Eventually, I will have everything maxed out that I can mix and match things for the perfect builds, but I'm not quite there yet. So I just have some set stuff built up. So that's how you communicate. And if you're not sure what I'm referring to, also even further on how to tell if you're qualified for a boss fight or a behemoth fight. So if we go into a pursuit and pick a specific, let's just click on Blaze. We'll look at the Hellion here, and over on the far right, the Hellion recommended power level is 275. The heroic Firebrand Charog is recommended 425. So where does it say over their recommended Slayer level? It doesn't. Okay. So first big tip, or do and don't, is learn to use the right terminology. Know where your gear is at. That's what matters. Leveling your gear to progress into the harder behemoths, not your Slayer level. Your Slayer level gives you some benefits, but that is not... It doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't care if you're a Slayer level 50. I don't care if you're a Slayer level 2. All I care about when I play with you or I pick people from chat to play with is what's your gear at. Make sense? Makes sense. Moving on. 4 brand new players who are a little overwhelmed with everything in the city and all the different gear and the loadouts and going to YouTube and finding out what's best and the best. It's going to be a long time until you get all of the cells leveled up to +3 and you have all the gear sets you need. So the first thing that I tell any new player that wants a tip, just flat out, period, aside from the rant on your Slayer level, is level up neutral gear right off the bat. Just level it up. Let's come here and talk to my girl Mora. And the Nasher gear. The Nasher is solid gear. Boom. Gives you reduced duration of wounded status, which is okay. You get tough. I think there's a second tough. You get 2+ toughnesses. So if you're brand new anyways, you're gonna get the snot smacked out of you. So toughness is good. It increases your health and your healing received, and you get 2 perks on that. And then you get damage versus enraged, which you can never argue with that because when they go enraged, you want to do more damage anyways. So that's not bad. But neutral, you just focus on one set, and the neutral, I suggest neutral because if you're not 100% familiar with the game yet, you have elements. You have Blaze, Frost, Shock, Terra, Radiant, Umbral. So Blaze and Frost kind of go together. Shock and Terra kind of go together. Radiant and Umbral kind of go together. So if you're using Blaze armor, fire armor, and you're fighting a fire boss behemoth, you have fire resistance, okay? Now, when you wear your Blaze armor and you're fighting a frost behemoth, you are taking massively increased damage, okay? The frost behemoths are strong against fire armor. So if you were to start hunting, picking different gear to level here and there because of some build you saw on Reddit or YouTube, you're going to end up having gear that isn't going to be optimized for your all-around purpose. So first thing first, make sure you have a neutral set leveled up. That way you're never in a situation where you're going to be super weak. And then you're going to use that neutral set. So for instance, get everything to 300 as you're doing all your quests and before you unlock the dire patrols, which is the next threat level where the bosses then get names. They require 300 or above to get the dire patrols. And then you also have to do your quest line. So you're going to want to get something to 300 anyways. Get your weapon to 300 and your gear to 300. And it doesn't take long. To get all 4 pieces of of anything, it takes 4 patrols. Patrols will reward you with 10 orbs. It takes 8 orbs to level any piece of gear to +5. And then if you have 4 +5 items, you're at 300. So 4 neutral patrols. That's going to take you less than an hour. And then you can make 1 neutral set 300. And then I think it takes 3 or 4 patrols to get a weapon. And I would just pick you're all around, just pick a sword. I don't care what you pick, to be honest. But if you just need something quick, get a neutral sword, probably the Nasher sword, get it to 300, and then you're set. And then from there, as you're doing all of your other patrols, you're doing your quest lines, you're going to be getting orbs for other things. But do not start off trying to make a god tier build. Don't. Just pick neutral. Also, like if you're trying to join other people, no one's really going to come, well, and there's some pretty anal people out there about who they want to play with. But, for instance, if you're in my channel and you want to hang out, and for most of the people that I know, anybody in my guild, anybody that's coming from Save the World, none of us are going to complain that you're wearing neutral gear. We just care that you have the right power level for the bosses that we're fighting. So don't put yourself in a situation where you're just going to get pooped on because you have the wrong gear, right? Neutral gear first, get it done, it's quick and easy, and from there start unlocking more and more stuff. Tip number 3. The Middleman. I just made a video over the Middleman going into all details, so I will not go into details about him here, but always make sure that you have your cells cooking, that they're being fused. Don't ever let this thing be idle. And what I mean by that is you have, for you brand new players, you get mods, aka cells in the game that you can slot into your equipment and gear that give you bonus perks, okay? There's 3 rarities: uncommon, rare, and epic. And the higher the rarity, the stronger the perk becomes. And you can take 2 uncommons and you can fuse them into here. Take some time. Fusing 2 greens into a blue takes a day. 2 blues into a purple takes 2 days. And then there's a 3-day thing that you can do with the purples. If there's a purple you don't want, you can put it in and get a random new purple, but that takes 3 days. So always make sure that you're logging in to do your Middleman cell fusions. A lot of people complain about how cells are hard to come by, but those are the people that have only been playing for like 2 days. The game's not meant to complete and what game would anybody play if you could max out your stuff in 1 weekend? What would you do after that? So anyways, you gotta log in and upgrade your cells. That's one way to improve your cells. You can also purchase things. He's got a weekly thing up here that you can purchase, and I go over ways to get extra currencies and things for that in the Middleman video. I'll have a link in the description, by the way. Tip number 4. This is more for console players. And I think PC players don't know this, but I do both. I play both console and PC, and this isn't the only game to do this. But it's annoying, right? So I get a lot of questions in chat about how to get specific items. I'm like, what? So I played console for a couple days, didn't realize it because I wasn't a high enough level to even merit having to ask these questions. And then after playing on PC for a while, I never ran into the issue of having to ask the question. What are you talking about? Let's talk to Wills here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, if I want to craft this exotic sword, those are the items down here, right? It also shows them in a list in red font on the far right side of the screen. 1 shroud feather, 4 twisted shadow spurs. Okay. Where do you get them? I don't know where to get them. I mean, shroud feather, I'm guessing, is from Shroud. That's kind of a no-brainer. But some of the items, like this item over here, you hover over it. Oh, wait. Consoles can't hover over it, okay? This is what I'm talking about. So on console, you can't do this. So, for instance, this elemental tail gem, these are what people ask all the time. How do you get these things? These are special items. It's a rare drop from the tail of an elemental behemoth broken within 2 minutes of combat. And it also needs to be a threat level 8 or higher. It does not say that in the far right of the screen, and on console, you can't hover over these items or select these items in the crafting bar right over here. So, how do you find out? Well, you could ask your PC friends to go to the screen and hover over it if they have the same item. What happens if they've leveled it up and you can't go back and look at it? There's a website that I've been using. It's not secret. It's just the Dauntless wiki. Let me just what is this called? This is called the Elemental Tail Gem. Okay, bring this over here. Psh, boom. You come to here, you can go find your items, and it'll have crafting lists, but even easier, you can just do Elemental Tail Gem. Did I spell it right? Yeah, right there, boom. Yeah, right here. Pow, tells us. So you can find it that way, how to get it. Or, again, if you're doing a sword, let's just go back, we'll pull up in that exotic sword. The hunger, bam. It'll come down and it'll tell you all the levels of crafting reagents right here, bam. And you can find it here and click on it there. So until they maybe it's not even on their to-do list, maybe people haven't complained about it, maybe it's not even maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it's a big tip. So if you're looking to figure out how to craft your stuff, instead of trying to Google the part or whatever, just go to the wiki page. I'll have a link in the description as well. You can just type in Google or whatever Apple devices thing, Safari, I don't know. Dauntless wiki, done. And then you can type it into their search bar, or you can go find the exact item and look at their crafting list. They also show a pretty neat little table here that shows all of the items that'll be required for it to hit max level. There's lots of cool stuff on this website. So, but that's the best way on console to find out what your pieces are that you need for the items. And lastly, one last tip. I mean, I could go over tips on combat, but every other tips and tricks video, go for yellow numbers. I mean, dodge into the enemy. Everybody says the same thing. So we're not going to go over any of that because I figure everybody knows that already. So, last tip though for new players that are interested in leveling up their Slayer level faster to get maybe some specific perks or things unlocked early on. One of the fastest ways to do it early is to craft everything. Craft everything that you get. So if you go to the axes, this axe, just craft it. You get a check mark. Craft this guy. I have not crafted yet. Oh, because we just unlocked that. I just beat the last behemoth. Craft it. Craft it. Craft it. So just go through and craft it. You don't even have to level it up. The +6s are going to take you a while. You're going to have to get above 300 and get into the dyers and then get specific pieces to then craft a +6 weapon. But just craft your +1s. Go ahead and craft everything at +1 and go through and do that for all your weapons. Do it for all your weapons. See, I play hammer a little bit apparently. Just craft those. And then same thing with your gear. So the third option down, right there. Craft all Boreas armor. So just craft all the armor, right? And then make sure you fight everybody. And you'll get plenty of levels for doing that. And it shouldn't take you very long, and it's not very tedious to craft all your gear and craft all your weapons. The leveling up process is what starts to get tedious, especially on the weapons. Gear is actually fairly quick and simple to level up. But that's it. That's the 5 tips that I have for new players. Again, most of these come from chat, aka I live stream, if you didn't already know, over on Twitch in the evenings from 8 p.m. till about 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Lately, it's been way later because of this game. You can find me over there at the official address, twitch.tv/SlyGumbi. It's a little goofy sometimes. We're a little inappropriate, which is good, super good. But lately, now that we played the game a little bit and we're kind of geared, I've opened a queue for the last 2 nights for chat to jump in. When we do dire patrols all night, we'll have like a dire night where we're just doing dire patrols back to back to back to back to back. I require everybody to be at least 300 item score because that's the minimum requirement for it in game. And then when we do heroics, we did heroics last night. Then I require everybody to be about 380. And again, to get to 300, it's your gear, your armor is 4 patrols. There's no excuse. Like people are like, whoa, it's too hard. No, it's not. And then your weapon, to get a weapon, a neutral weapon, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4. Because I think it takes 7. It might be 5, actually. Because it takes 7 orbs, and I think it's 8, 8, and 9. So that would be, is that 4? Or it might be right over 4. If you get bonus orbs on top of the 10 you get for doing a patrol, you might get lucky and have to do 4, but you probably have to do 5 for a weapon. And on that same note, depending on how many bonus orbs you get, it might take you 3 patrols to get your armor to 300. So, again, I stream daily, twitch.tv/SlyGumbi. We got a Discord channel that I'm going to start putting stuff on as well as soon as I start doing some number game things. But, yeah, come check it out. It's fun. We talk about lots of cool things. We play the chat. See you there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.